Check out my exclusive interview with Nebraska starting tight end Luke Lindenmeyer. He talks about getting engaged. What if she'd have said no? Matt Rhule knew beforehand. Talks about the process from going from a Nebraska high school walk-on to a starting tight end. There's a whole bunch of laughter that comes along the way, insightful, unique information. Also, part 2, I found a bunch of interesting random stats that I'll share with you fine folks in the second part of this video, and my Houston Christian versus Nebraska prediction. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People Show. Checking the pulse of Husker Nation, brought to you by DPS Concrete Construction. Check them out at dpsconstruction.net. Also, CarrikerChronicles.com. And if you find yourself, like me, becoming more and more of a Luke Lindenmeyer fan each and every day as the season goes along, to smash the like button. And if you haven't done so yet, all right, make sure you subscribe, ring that notification bell. All right, the show is growing, evolving, changing, almost seemingly on a daily basis. If you want to keep up with what we're doing here, and frankly, it helps us out, make sure you subscribe, ring the notification bell. All right, at this time, I want to bring on our special guest, starting Nebraska tight end, Mr. Luke Lindenmeyer. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Dude, I appreciate you taking the time. So I'm sure you've been asked about this 0 times since the game, so I'll be the first one to ask you about it. All right, getting engaged after the Akron game, all right? What was that like? What prompted the idea for you to do that? And I got to ask this. Was there any pressure? Because, like, what if she said no? Obviously, she said yes, but what if she said no in front of everybody?
Well, it started in Easter, where I spent Easter with her family and my family. And I kind of just, like, realized, okay, I think I want to marry this girl. And then I just started thinking, like, okay, how do I want to ask her? And I thought the perfect place to do it was the first place I saw her which was on Memorial Stadium after a game. And then I just started thinking, I started praying about it and visualizing it. And then Dr. Elza, she's the one who made it happen. I went to her office one time and I was like, "You think I could propose after a game this season?" And she just got all the details figured out. I just gave her a list of names, and then she got both of our families on the field, and it went perfectly. And as for the pressure of her saying no, I mean, I did get a little nervous, but we had talked about it, like getting married before, and she was on board. And then there were some times where, like, she thought I was gonna propose somewhere else before, so I felt like, she was ready to say yes.
You felt good about it. You had an inkling beforehand. That's a smart move right there. So Coach Rhule said he knew before the Akron game that you were going to do that after the game. So when you told him about it, what did he say?
He was all for it, but, like, he actually just told me after I proposed that he was, like, super excited for it, more excited than he initially seemed like to me, because he just wanted me to focus on the game. So he did a nice job of doing that.
My head coach knew I was going to propose, Bill Callahan, to my wife before I did. I don't think I've ever told her this. She's behind the camera right now. He goes, "Really? Really? Like, are you sure?" Like, he didn't try to talk me out of it, but it was like, I still remember that to this day. So you got a much different reaction from Rhule than I did from my head coach, which is probably a good thing. All right, man. Before the Cincinnati game, you got baptized. After the Akron game, you get engaged. Now, what should we be expecting from Luke this weekend? Are you going to jump out of an airplane with your pads on? Like you created quite the expectation here. So what should we expect from you this weekend?
That's it. Now I'm just focused on each week, just preparing. And now I even have more time to prepare. I really wanted to get baptized before the season started. And then the engagement, that just happened to be the first home game. And yeah, it was crazy. It was back to back to back like that. But that's it from me. I got nothing else.
Nothing else? All right. Just straight football going forward.
Yeah.
So coming into this year, you've actually started 7 games as a freshman and sophomore at tight end. Okay, but I'm curious, what's it been like? Because it's quite the journey, going from walking on at Nebraska, from Papillion La Vista High School, to 3 to 4 years later, now you are the starting tight end here at Nebraska. What's that journey been like for you?
I think it's just being able to commit to the process and everything that Coach Rhule talks about. Every day, going into practice, just getting better and going against guys like Ty Robinson, guys like Cam Lenhart, MJ Sherman. Like, I've gone against some some really good DNs. And I think all that just started accumulating, and all the reps that I've got in game and in practice just started to compound over time. And now I'm at the ability where I can just go on the field and play free and confident.
One of my favorite things in this young football season was your first press conference when you're like, I don't know what to do. Do I make an opening statement? Like, I thought that was great because I was a guy, shocker now, I was a guy that was terrified of public speaking. I saw a speech therapist for like the first 6 years I was in school. I hated talking in front of the media. So when I saw that from you, there was such a real honest moment. That's one of my favorite parts of the early season so far. So, but we're 2 games in. What's kind of your evaluation of the offensive performance so far? Things that have gone well, you guys have succeeded at. What are some of the things you guys want to continue to improve on going forward?
I just think after that first game, we just had like small little things that stopped our drives, like whether it be a penalty or a missed block, just being able to clean up all the details, and then like Holgorsen says all the time, routine plays and just getting the ball in play, catching the ball, making somebody miss, staying in bounds, making the other team have to tackle us. And I think we showed last game, like our offense has a great ability to score, and we still have room to improve because we let a lot of points out there. So I think it's taking it week by week, seeing what we can improve on. And I mean, we already took a step from week 1 to week 2, so I'm excited for the step from week 2 to week 3.
Talk to me about some of the other tight ends in that tight end room with you. You got Heinrich Harburg, who went from quarterback to tight end. All right, talk to me about kind of what you've seen from him so far. Another guy, Carter Nelson, who's coming off the hip injury, but appears to be fully healthy. Rhule's kind of said, hey, it's his time to step up, do some more things. Talk to me about those 2 guys specifically.
Oh, Heinrich's improved a lot. It's drastically different from him in bowl practices last season when he first made the transition to tight end, and now. And you could see it. There was a play against Akron where he came across a slice block and popped the guy, and Emmett ran for like a 50-yard touchdown. And that play right there just shows the growth of him and his ability to just be physical and not be afraid to just dip in his shoulder and get in his head into a block. And then Carter, just same thing for him. He's not afraid to put his shoulder or head on somebody, but for him, it's just being able to learn the game better from the tight end position, because playing 8-man and then playing receiver, tight end is a whole different game. Like you're not just running routes, but you're also blocking like 270-pound DNs too.
Yeah, that's a fair point. You guys are asked to do a lot of different things at the tight end spot. Now I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, DPS Concrete Construction. Check them out at dpsconstruction.net. They're your local concrete and retaining wall experts. Ladies and gentlemen, nobody does it better. If this is the line of work that you do, Jason Armstrong, the owner, is the guy you want to work for. Again, dpsconstruction.net if this is the type of work you want done. Concrete work, retaining wall work. Again, go to dpsconstruction.net. Also, shout out to Husker Auto Group. Check them out at huskerautomotive.com. All 2025 Chevy Silverado and GMC Sierra. There's half-ton, three-quarter-ton, one-ton trucks in stock are up to $11,500 discount off of MSRP. Over 100 trucks available and ready for immediate delivery. See huskerautomotive.com for details. Also, Husker BMW of Lincoln has 2025 model BMW X7 all-wheel drive marquee SUVs available for immediate delivery for up to $8,000 off MSRP. Husker Auto Group is committed to delivering an excellent customer experience, conveniently located on North 27th and I-80. So, Rhule mentioned you guys beat Akron, obviously 68-0, but Rhule kind of mentioned in one of his press conferences earlier this week that he felt like playing Northern Iowa and then going into the Illinois game almost kind of hurt you guys going into that game. So going into Houston Christian, and obviously you got Big Ten play, Michigan State around the corner. What is your guys' main focus going into this Houston Christian game, and what are you guys really focusing on as you get ready for them?
Just continuing to play to our standard. I mean, Coach Rhule always talks about like he doesn't care what the score is, but he cares what the tape looks like. And all that comes down to is individually, like, are you winning your one-on-one? Are you winning your block? Are you falling off? Are you making your play? Are you at the correct depth on your route? Just doing what we do at a high level no matter who we play. And it's a nameless, faceless opponent every week. So really on offense, it's just us versus us executing our assignments.
You got Big Ten play starting in a couple of weeks. Obviously, you got Houston Christian first, but as Big Ten play comes around, I mean, you're a junior, you've been through Big Ten plays and a Big Ten conference season before. What are some of the things that you think will need to be emphasized from the team as a whole as you guys get ready to play Big Ten opponents, Michigan, Michigan State, and then I think it's like Maryland, Minnesota, something like that?
I think sustainability and just being able to have depth, because there's not a single season that I've been here where the starting lineup is the same at the beginning to the end of the season. Like, guys are gonna get banged up, guys are gonna go down, and just having the guys, the twos and threes, being ready and getting mental reps when they're not getting reps in the game, and just watching the older guys in front of them being ready when their time comes, and sustainability. Yeah.
All right, talk to me about your OC, Dana Holgorsen. He seems to be particularly a big fan of you, but from your perspective, what makes him such a good offensive coordinator?
He's real. Like, he's like straight to it. He doesn't beat around the bush, which I personally like, because he's not, whenever he talks, like, he's telling you the truth, whether it's good or bad. And he's just so methodical, even though it's simple, like what he asks of us, but it's so precise, just like the routine plays. Like, there's like, oh yeah, like, obviously you want to catch the ball, you want to get vertical, you want to make a guy miss, but him just emphasizing it over and over again, and just the fundamental of football, just pushing the ball down the field, getting yards, and making it simple.
All right, talking about your tight ends coach, Marcus Satterfield. Okay, what's it like having him as your coach? What should people know about him as a tight ends coach?
He's extremely smart. I mean, he's been an OC for forever, and just him bringing that football IQ and learning from him has been amazing. And I've been able to teach him some stuff too from the tight end perspective, which is cool. And as I'm learning from him, he's also learning from me, and he's not afraid to admit when he's wrong or he doesn't know something. So he's not a coach that's gonna just straight up lie to you because he just wants to have the title of coach. He's gonna be like walking you through, like we were there with him when he like went through the whole transition from OC to tight end, and we shared a lot of tight end coach, and we shared a lot of like kind of intimate moments with him, and he's been really upfront and honest with us. So just having that connection with him off the field makes it a lot better playing for him on the field.
So you guys are kind of teaching each other things. Obviously, he's teaching you. What are some of the things you feel you've been able to kind of like share with him or teach him about playing tight end as well?
Well, I just think the 3 years I've played tight end and blocking wise, like just having that experience and like movements of like your shoulders, like subtle movements that like you don't really notice unless you've like actually done them like yourself. Because he was a receiver, he wasn't a tight end. There's like subtle movements that neither of us can explain like how to do it, but I just stand up and like show him kind of what it is, and we'll teach it to the other guys, and we'll agree on it.
I get that. I had an offensive lineman teach me some interesting things. Richie Incognito, a lot of Nebraska fans will remember him. I was a freshman. He was like a junior, All-American or whatever the case, all-conference. We're going against each other 9-on-7, and all of a sudden my face is in the dirt, and there's a bunch of the black freaking beads all up in my face, and I'm like, what the heck just happened? Like, and I'm watching film, and I was getting so heavy leaning ahead because it was 9-on-7. I knew it was a run. He knew it was a run. And he had a tendency to drive people off the ball about 40,000 yards. So I didn't want that to happen. Well, he was just like, bam, threw me on my face, went to the second level. That was something I learned. I started to learn to feel people's weight. Like, if you're going to drive that hard, I'll snatch you and get right by you. So it was a hard lesson that I learned. So kind of feeling that out, I'm sure those are some of the things that you can kind of share with him too. So, all right, man, who are some of the funniest guys on the team?
Well, there's a lot of funny guys. But the first people that come to mind: Bryce Turner, Ja'Cory Barney, my roommate Dylan Parrott, Jalen Gramstad. We call him Granddad for a reason. But those guys are hilarious.
All right, and who were some of the leaders in that offensive huddle?
Oh, you got DR leading the huddle, Henry, Rocco, Dane, Ja'Cory. Like, this guy's just saying stuff right before the huddle, right before Dylan gets in, just to get us locked in. Not every snap, but before most snaps, I try to let the guys know, like, love you guys, and I don't expect them to say it back. I just expect them to say it back by the way they play. Like, love each other by how hard we play for each other, by our effort.
For sure. That makes a lot of sense. All right, last question. You love basketball. I asked you what's something people might not know about you. You said I'm a hooper, and you voluntarily, you and Jalen Gramstad voluntarily coached 8th grade boys this past summer. Shout out to Supreme Basketball. I also coach my twin daughter's basketball team there as well. What was it like coaching middle schoolers and dealing with youth parents? How was that? What was that experience like for you?
Well, it's kind of interesting because they know we're football players, so like they're very lenient with us, and they also gave us the bottom team, so it was kind of just like they just went out there, had fun, tried their best. But it's hard coaching middle schoolers especially when they don't listen to you, and that's especially when it's like peak bad attitude. So me and Jalen definitely learned a lot during that, and I told Sat about it, and Sat was like, well, you realize like why we get so mad when you guys don't listen to us now. So it was a nice change of perspective.
So obviously I'm coaching my kids. So I coached my son for years. He's now in high school. I've got 5 daughters. So now I'm coaching girls for the first time ever. Piece of advice, with all due respect to boys and men out there, girls are 1,000 times easier to coach. They actually want to listen, and they actually want to do what they're told to do. It's amazing. I enjoyed the years I coached boys as well, but man, girls, they're just a lot easier to coach, I'm discovering rather quickly. So, hey man, I appreciate you taking the time. And ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Here are some things you fine folks might find interesting. Big Ten quarterback grades from last week. Dylan Raiola was in the bottom 3 or 4 after the first game. He is number 3 in the Big Ten after the second game versus Akron. Now, you look at some of the preseason rankings for some of the quarterbacks across the country, guys that are about Dylan's age, from Lenoris Sellers, who is a stud but been injured a lot, of South Carolina, DJ Lagway, though Florida under the gun right now, Mark Gronowski, who's not exactly lighting it up for the Iowa Hawkeyes. We're all ahead of Dylan. Their QBRs are 47.3, 52.4, 27.2. Dylan's is 81.2 through 2 games so far this year. This is really early, but interesting. Power ranking, the most likely Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year. The guy who could barely start at UCLA, now at Oregon, Dante Moore's favorite at this moment in time. Dylan is in the top 10. He's there at number 9. All right. It was an eye-opening weekend at Nebraska for top 10 2027 edge KJ Green, who's seen some premier matchups in SEC stadiums over the years. This is via Tim Verghese, and I quote, "The atmosphere in Lincoln was unreal. I've been to a lot of games, but nothing compares to that," end quote. That's why Matt Rhule thinks the Husker Nation is a dynamic tool and powerful force when it comes to recruiting for Nebraska football. A lot of points scored this past weekend, but only a few teams did 60 or 70 more points. 4 ranked teams scored 70-plus points this past Saturday. You can see the 4 teams. Nebraska's not among them, but they are among 5 Big Ten teams that scored 60-plus points on the same day for the first time in conference history. And there you can see Ohio State, Oregon, Minnesota, Nebraska, and Washington. Pretty cool company. And a shout out to another one of our sponsors, 66 Auto Service in Lincoln. Check them out at 66autoservice.com, located at 2405 P Street in good old Lincoln, Nebraska, locally owned and operated for 20 years. That's 2+ decades, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody does it better. Ask for Dean Phelps. He's the owner if you go in, or Eric or Jeff. And if you do, tell them that Adam sent you. They do great work at a very reasonable price. We now have kids who drive, along with myself and my wife. This is the place we take all of our vehicles to be taken care of. Everything from oil changes to engine replacements. They offer shuttle rides, loaner vehicles, financial aid as well, if needed. Again, 6-6 Auto Service in Lincoln. Check them out at 6-6autoservice.com. Oh, you've probably seen this, but I haven't talked about it yet. Nebraska backup quarterback TJ Lateef in one half a play has more passing yards, 128, than Iowa starting quarterback Mark Gronowski has for the entire year combined through 8 quarters, 128 yards to 127. All right, Jaden Maeva leads the Big Ten with 707 passing yards this year, 100 more than any other quarterback. But here's the interesting part. He has only dropped back to pass 43 times, the second fewest among Big Ten quarterbacks. That's crazy. Is USC a threat this year? Yes, they are. Watch out. That game in November, alternate uniform, blackout night game in Lincoln. It's going to be fire. All right, Big Ten performance tiers in week 2. Nebraska is at the top tier for week 2. We're heading into week 3 now. What I thought was interesting, look at all the other teams in tier 1. We're only going to play one of those teams, and that's Minnesota. We don't play anybody else. That's crazy to me. All right, running back Emmett Johnson ranked 7th nationally in rushing yards through 2 games. Congrats to Emmett so far. Now, Nebraska's not a top 25 team as we sit here right now, but you're starting to see people put them back in the top 25. Personally, I say, talk to me 2 weeks from now. Not everything is a valley full of daisies and roses and sunshine. If I had to nitpick, giving up 5.3 yards per carry to Akron's starting running back is concerning. Got to continue to get better in our rush defense. Let's continue to do that versus Houston Christian. And I talked about over 100 players, 108 different players took the field for Nebraska versus Akron on Saturday, an incredible number. I'm curious to see how many played versus Houston Christian this Saturday. All right, I love this. I love this. Me turning on the Husker postgame content. My wife, we won 68-0. What could there possibly be to listen or talk about? And it's a picture of Matt Rhule looking at someone like they're crazy. I don't care what the game is. There's always a ton of stuff to talk about when it comes to Husker football, especially post-game reactions like this. I saw this after the game, sharing it now, and I quote, Ja'Cory Barney had 87 punt return yards on 4 attempts. That's nice on any night. It's especially so when you consider Nebraska at 75 punt return yards in total in 2024, end quote. That's good and something else all at the same time. All right, according to Huskers.com, only 2 wins in program history since 1945 were more lopsided than the win over Akron last Saturday. It also equaled one previous 68-point win. Army, 1972, New Mexico State, 1982, and Kansas, 1986. Now, I don't know about this, but this is what people are starting to believe about Nebraska football. What we have learned about every Big Ten team through week 2. If you look at Nebraska, a little ways down the list, and you can look at what every team here, what they believe they've learned about every team through 2 weeks in the Big Ten. For Nebraska, they said they are controlling games from start to finish. Rhule has changed the program. We'll see about that, but that's what people are starting to perceive when it comes to Nebraska football. This is just insane. Haley Sawyer's response to college football fans criticizing her AP ballot. And I quote, I don't want to go too much into my process or logic. It's really fun, but it doesn't probably matter in the end, end quote. Sawyer moved Florida up 2 spots in her rankings after losing to USF on Saturday. And there's other crazy things she did as well. The AP poll's out of control. She should be stripped of the right to vote. Maybe give it to me. And what? She really doesn't care. She's just having fun throwing darts at a dartboard. We got to do better than this. All right, Florida, it's getting interesting down there. They got an insane schedule. Billy Napier's starting to feel the heat. They got a lot of talent. One of the top 15 talent composite ranking rosters in the entire country, but they had their first home loss to a school from Florida, not named Miami or Florida State since 1938, which was versus Stetson. They lost to University of South Florida this past weekend. Oh, I just randomly came across this picture. Is this real or is this altered? Look at how many Akron players are in the neutral zone on the Heinrich Harburg tush push. Is this doctored? This hat? How is this not called? All right, the light show. I talked about it after the game. Absolutely phenomenal. The sunset that was happening during the game last Saturday at Memorial Stadium was beautiful. Here's another shot, another night shot of the stadium with fireworks, just absolutely awesome. I love the red end zones. I'm glad we made that change. The end zones pop. All right, the marching band out on the field, sold out crowd, night game atmosphere, just awesome. Here's a shot of the band, and you got the skull and the crossbones in the background. That never hurts anything. Shout out to the volleyball team. And Big Ten volleyball teams. We have the number 1, number 6, number 13, number 12, number 14, number 16, and number 24 ranked volleyball teams in the country. That is 7 ranked volleyball teams from one conference. Premier college football matchups this weekend. They're up on the screen. I'm going to take Tennessee over Georgia. I'm going to take Notre Dame over A&M, Miami over USF. I'm going to take Clemson over Georgia Tech. I'm going to take LSU over Florida. I'm going to take South Carolina over Vandy. I'm going to take West Virginia over Pitt, Tulane over Duke, Ole Miss over Arkansas. Don't really care about Minnesota, Cal. I would have personally put Alabama versus Wisconsin at the bottom of this list. I'm going to take Bama, but I'm rooting for whiskey. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have no keys to this game. Just go out and beat a team once again the way you should beat a team like this. No letdowns and things we've done well so far this season. Let's continue to improve in the run defense, pressuring the quarterback defensively, red zone efficiency offensively, and kick returns on special teams. All right, now I've been told that if Akron were to play Houston Christian, they don't really do odds or spreads for FBS versus FCS teams. But if Akron were to play Houston Christian, they'd be a 13-point favorite on a neutral field. So does that mean we have to win this game by 81 points, 68 plus 13? the margin of victory last week, plus what Akron would be favored over Houston Christian. 81-0 for this to be a success this Saturday. Do we have to win 68-0 again? 69-0? The odds of that all happening again just aren't great. Okay, things going the way that they did last Saturday, happening again despite the opponent, it's just hard to do. Plus, probably over 100 players are going to play again. I'm going to go, and even getting another shutout's hard. Houston Christian could just randomly get in field goal position, randomly score, get a lucky touchdown. I'm going to say 56-7 good guys, which would make us a 49-point favorite. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here are our fan questions brought to you by Husker Auto Group. Check them out at huskerautomotive.com. You can also follow me on the social medias, X, TikTok, and Facebook. Number one, do we have to beat Houston Christian by 60 points or more for you to be happy? Just simply say yes or no. Number two, what's your official score prediction? And number three, if you're a guy, would you have had the guts to propose to your girlfriend in front of everyone at Memorial Stadium the way Luke Lindenmeyer did? And if you're a girl, would that have been pretty sweet? All right, until next time, go Big Red Nose. Remember to throw the ball.